I've been wanting to do a video about money for quite a while, and it just feels like the right time. Sometimes when a topic comes to me for a video, I have to let it kind of simmer for a while, sometimes a few weeks, sometimes a number of months before I'm ready to speak about it and offer something to you. But what I wanted to focus on specifically is what gets in our way of manifesting money. Now, money is a very provocative topic. There are some very strong opinions, but I think this is really worth getting into and looking at what are the blocks to earning money. So without you sitting in front of me and us having a conversation, I'm going to be offering some very general ideas that you can kind of sit with and ask yourself if how these maybe are going on in your life, if at all. But I think when we're looking at this, let's say if you're someone who has consistent difficulty earning enough money, you may be an incredibly hard worker, but just have trouble manifesting money. Or you may be someone who comes from a codependent upbringing where you learn to be codependent and you also struggle with money. What we got to do is we need to look at what did we learn about money growing up? Let's start there. Many people learn that money is the root of all evil, or they may have heard things like, do you think I'm made of money? Or money doesn't grow on trees? Or we don't have enough? Money is in short supply. Eat all the food on your plate, don't waste. There isn't enough. You may have been told you'll never amount to anything. Or any number of things like that. All of those statements are coming from a place of lack, not having enough. There is a shortage and we can't do anything about it. It's feeling almost like a victim, like we can't do, like we're helpless here. We also have to look at what did we learn about our ability to create what we wanted. I think the easy answer would be to say we self-sabotage. But at the same time that may be true, on another hand, you could also say there is no such thing as self-sabotage, as self-sabotage in and of itself is its own program. It is a program, a conditioned way of responding and thinking that you learned. It is a normal reaction to an abnormal situation. You learned that you can't do it. You're not capable. You can't produce that. You can't have that. What's wrong with you? And so, of course, you learn from that to not believe in yourself. So I hesitate to say you're self-sabotaging because cloaked within that term is a little bit of covert blame. And then we have to look at what was our upbringing like. Again, I touched on that a little bit before, but going back to what I mentioned earlier about codependency. If you grew up in a home that you learned to be codependent, you learned to give and give and give of yourself and accept very little back. That may manifest in your intimate relationships. It may also manifest in your ability or difficulty in earning money. So you may find if you come from that background that you learned it was normal. Give of yourself, give to others. You love to help others. You love being there for others. You love sharing your insight and your wisdom. You love doing things for others. And in return, you're okay with, as in, let me put that in quotes, you've been conditioned to be okay with receiving a pittance of love or a pittance of salary, or as I sometimes refer to it as crumbs of love, or just a little bit of money, even though the proportion of work that you give is far more than what you're receiving. So in all of these examples, I can identify one common root. And to me, it comes down to not knowing our value. Just think about that for a second, because sometimes if someone says, to you, well, you don't know your value. And you may say, huh? What do you mean? Sit with that for a moment and see, and ask yourself, well, what does it mean if you do know your value? If you do appreciate yourself, you feel deserving, you feel okay with receiving, whether it's love or it's friendships, community, a partner who loves and respects you for who you are. It means that you allow yourself to receive money for all of your hard work and all of your effort. But if we don't know our value, then why would we allow ourselves to receive money? If we don't think we are worth it, then we're going to block that from coming in. We're going to say, or think, or feel kind of weird. Maybe we feel uncomfortable receiving money. Maybe we think to ourselves, well, who am I to receive money? Or maybe if I get money and have I'm not saying an exorbitant amount of money, but if I'm just comfortable, I have enough, there are people who are struggling more than I am, so who am I to have that? And to that, I would respond and say, it is each person's responsibility to own and to stand in their own power and to take charge of their ability to manifest for themselves. You don't have to play small just so someone cannot feel threatened by you, because that doesn't do anyone any good. If you rise up, then it can encourage other people to rise up too. But you playing small is not helping anyone else shine their light. When we know our value, we feel good about receiving. We don't feel guilty. We don't feel weird or awkward. We know that it is deserved. If you were to work on something, maybe at your job, or maybe if you're a business owner, whatever it is, and you are met with tons of success and rewards or a bonus, would that make you feel uncomfortable? And just ask yourself that question and sit with that, because that is a really good indicator. What would it feel like if you were to get the things that you desire? Would you feel guilty, weird, or almost self-conscious? So that's one way that we can kind of look at this and kind of gauge where we're at if we're not already conscious of that. The other thing we can do is to look at this subconscious programming that we may have learned growing up and understand that that is dictating what's happening now for you. That's about 95%. So you may be saying, well, I'm doing the visualizations. I'm doing the work out in the world. I'm doing the meditation. I'm reading the books. We got to get to that root of our subconscious programming, because if maybe we're just doing this, 5% is conscious thought and 95% is our subconscious programming. And that's why it's so important that we get in touch. We peel back layer after layer after layer and get to that root of what that is for you. I think that knowing our value is a big, big component. Because if we don't know our value, we are not going to allow ourselves to have those things, to allow abundance to come in. We're going to block it. We're going to block it with that programming, and we won't know it until we start to get really clear. I will make a video about tapping to allow money very soon, because I think tapping is an excellent, excellent way to access the subconscious and to get to the root of all that programming. So sit with this for a little bit, think about it, and let me know what comes up for you. And remember that it is okay for you to allow, that you don't have to continue to accept these crumbs that you've been conditioned to accept. Please let me know if you have any questions, comments, leave them for me below the video. Thank you everyone for tuning in. More to come on this topic. There is a lot going on here. So I'll see you soon. Thank you.